A father and son move cautiously through the misty marshland, their footsteps sinking into the damp earth. They're on the hunt for food, their eyes scanning the wilderness for any sign of movement. Suddenly, a rustling sound breaks the silence. The father raises his binoculars, and the son follows his lead. Through the dense foliage, they spot a wild pig, oblivious to their presence as it forages for food. The boy, his heart pounding with anticipation, carefully hands his father a bow and arrow. With steady hands and a sharp gaze, the father takes aim. The arrow slices through the air and strikes the pig. Wounded, the animal stumbles into the swamp, leaving behind a faint trail of blood. They track it eagerly, but the trail vanishes into the murky water. Defeated, they exchange a silent glance and turn back toward home, their stomachs still empty. As they trudge through the overgrown path, something catches the boy's eye, a small mud-stained shoe lying in the grass. A child's shoe. They pause, exchanging uneasy glances, then follow the faint tracks leading deeper into the woods. Their search leads them to an abandoned car, its doors slightly ajar, its presence unsettling in the middle of nowhere. Father cautiously peers inside, scanning for anything useful. He picks up a cigarette butt, while the boy rummages through the back seat. His fingers brush against a half-eaten biscuit. Hunger wins over hesitation. He takes a bite, savoring the stale crumbs. But when his father turns toward him, he panics, shoving the biscuit behind his back. In his haste, his elbow hits the car horn. A sharp, echoing honk shatters the silence. Distant howls answer back. Wolves. The father's face tenses. They know they can't outrun them. Without a word, they slip into the car, shutting the doors as quietly as possible. The air inside feels thick with fear. Shadows move between the trees. The wolves are close. The father and son hold their breath, their hearts pounding in sync with the rustling outside. Minutes feel like hours. Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, the wolves move on, their howls fading into the night. The danger has passed, for now. Exhausted, the father and son lean back against the worn seats. Sleep claims them, though the wilderness never truly rests. As the first light of dawn filters through the trees, the father and son wake up, stiff from the cold. Without a word, they resume their journey home. The boy finishes the last crumbs of his biscuit and carelessly tosses the wrapper onto the ground, unaware of the consequences this small action will bring. Their home, hidden deep in the wilderness, is camouflaged by layers of thick branches, shielding them from both predators and the harsh elements. They reach the entrance, carefully remove one of the branches, and slip inside before replacing it to maintain their disguise. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of damp wood and survival. The boy immediately kneels beside his sick girlfriend, her face pale, her breathing weak. A deep wound festers on her side. He gently touches her forehead. She's burning with fever. As night falls, the father sets a pot of water to boil, their only way to purify drinking water. The boy crushes a small pill and helps his girlfriend take it. Though it's clear she needs much more than just medicine. Nearby, the father rolls the cigarette butt he found earlier, savoring the rare indulgence. Stepping outside, he lights it, exhaling into the cold night air. In the distance, wolves howl, a reminder that danger never sleeps. Morning arrives in eerie silence. The boy wakes first, stepping outside to use the nearby toilet. But as he stretches, his blood runs cold. Figures are moving through the trees. A group of armed men, raiders, are closing in. Heart pounding, he sprints back to the house. The father jolts awake at the urgency in his son's eyes. Without hesitation, he pulls on his shoes and gathers supplies, stuffing them into a backpack. He shoves it into the boy's hands before breaking open the back door, creating an escape route. He ushers his son and the sick girl into the toilet, whispering for them to stay silent. Then, he steps out to face the raiders. He fights fiercely, landing blows and taking down a few of them, but they are too many. They overpower him, knocking him to the ground. Dazed, he watches as they strip him of his jacket and bind his hands. The leader of the raiders rifles through the backpack, his eyes narrowing as he finds the girl's medicine. A smirk creeps across his face before he slings the bag over his shoulder. The raiders assume the father is alone and prepare to leave, dragging him along. But just before they go, the leader stops. He sniffs the air, his gaze landing on the toilet. Curious, he steps closer and tries to open it. Inside, the boy grips the hatch with all his strength, holding it shut. The leader presses his face against the wooden door, squinting through the cracks, only to recoil in disgust. The stench is unbearable. Grimacing, he mutters a curse and turns away, deciding it's not worth the trouble. The moment they're gone, the boy stumbles out, only to find their home ransacked. Supplies are gone, and then he sees it. The biscuit wrapper lying near the entrance. Realization hits him like a punch to the gut. The wrapper led them here. Regret gnaws at him, but there's no time for self-pity. Inside, his girlfriend groans in pain, her wound worsening. She needs her medicine, but now it's gone. Desperation sets in. He picks up a pillow, his hands trembling. If she's going to die anyway, maybe it's kinder to end her suffering now. Raises the pillow over her face, but he can't do it. Tears sting his eyes as he drops the pillow and turns away. Instead, he reinforces the house, adding more branches to conceal it further. Then, he wraps plastic around his bare feet. Before leaving, he takes one last look at his father's photograph, sealing it inside the house as if preserving a piece of their past. Then, without hesitation, he steps into the unknown. The wind bites at his skin as he walks, his breath visible in the cold air. He doesn't know how far he'll have to go, only that he must find the medicine. And if fate allows it, he will bring his father back. Night falls, and exhaustion takes over. He curls up on the frozen ground, sleep claiming him in its merciless grip. Back at the house, his girlfriend stirs. She wakes up to find herself alone, weak but determined. She tries to leave, but the door won't open. He sealed her inside. The son wakes up to the sight of a young boy walking nearby. Instinctively, he follows, but the boy notices him and dashes toward a small house. The son picks up his pace, watching as the boy quickly shuts the door behind him. Peering through a small opening, he sees the boy hiding in a room with his elderly father. Desperation takes over, and the son breaks into the house. He moves quickly, grabbing a pair of trousers from a chair, an old jacket from the elderly man, and a single shoe lying on the floor. Without harming them, he leaves, knowing he needs these supplies to survive. As he continues his journey, he stumbles upon a trail of blood leading to a fire that has almost burned out. His heart sinks as he gets closer, realizing that the fire isn't just any fire. It contains human bones, charred and brittle, remnants of a cannibal's meal. His stomach churns as the horrifying thought hits him. One of these skeletons could be his father's. Overwhelmed with nausea, he vomits, struggling to process the gruesome sight. With a heavy heart, he buries the remains, silently mourning for whoever they once were, before forcing himself to move forward. Determined to find answers, he climbs a tall tree to get a better view of the land. In the distance, he sees a smoke rising into the sky. Just as he prepares to climb down, the branch beneath him snaps, and he crashes to the ground. Pain shoots through his body, his leg throbbing from the impact. Before he can gather himself, distant growls echo through the trees. Wolves. They've heard him fall, and they're closing in. Ignoring the pain, he scrambles to reignite the fire, knowing it's his only defense. As night falls, the wolves surround him, their eyes glowing in the darkness. Holding a burning torch, he swings it wildly, forcing them back. They snarl and snap at him, but the fire keeps them at bay. Eventually, they retreat into the shadows, leaving him to spend the night alone in the cold. At dawn, he continues towards the smoke he saw earlier. He finds a small tent and cautiously approaches. To test if anyone is inside, he throws a stone at it. When there's no response, he steps closer and peeks inside. The tent is abandoned, containing only a few scattered items: an empty water bottle, scraps of cloth, a match, a pocket knife, and a dog whistle. He collects them and steps outside, only to see the same boy from before. Their eyes meet for a brief moment before the boy runs into the forest. The son doesn't chase him. He has a more urgent mission. Reaching a river, he spots a woman washing bloodied knives in the water. He watches from a distance, recognizing her as the raider leader's wife. She fills a bottle with water and heads back toward the settlement. He grips a stone in his hand and quietly follows, careful to stay hidden. From the shadows, he observes the raider camp. The woman boils water outside a rusted trailer before stepping inside. Seeing an opportunity, he sneaks into the trailer and immediately finds his backpack. He rummages through it, searching desperately for his girlfriend's medicine, but it's not there. Before he can continue searching, the woman returns. She attacks. He dodges her strikes, but she's relentless. In a desperate move, he grabs the stone and strikes her head. She collapses to the floor, blood trickling from her wound. Breathing heavily, he stands over her, contemplating his next move. He could finish her off, but he chooses to spare her. Instead, he wipes the blood from the floor, drags her body outside, and places her near the fire. He takes her kettle and stuffs it into his backpack before hiding behind a tree to observe the raiders return. As the group arrives, they bring a new captive, the boy. The son watches in horror, realizing the terrible fate awaiting him. Raiders prepare a fire, their intentions clear. They are going to eat him. The leader surveys the camp. He retrieves a bottle of medicine from his pocket and hands it to one of the injured. The son clenches his fists, recognizing the medicine as the one meant for his girlfriend. Back at their hidden home, the girl stirs in pain, her fever worsening. She forces herself up, weak but determined. She glances at the sealed door, realizing that he locked her inside to keep her safe. But she knows she can't wait any longer. Gathering what little strength she has left, she presses her hands against the door and starts pushing, determined to escape. As the raiders prepare to cook the boy, the son hides nearby, watching anxiously. His heart pounds when one of the raiders walks toward his hiding spot to relieve himself. He presses himself against the ground, barely breathing, as the man finishes and turns back towards the camp. Just as the raider reaches the others, he notices the wife's axe lying on the ground. Confused, he picks it up and questions how it got there. Suspicion spreads through the group, and they begin searching for her. Seizing the moment, the son quickly buries her body under a pile of debris and crawls into the settlement, slipping past a gruesome heap of skeletons, the remains of those the raiders had eaten. Moving swiftly, he reaches the boy, who is tied up and trembling in fear. The son whispers for him to stay quiet, but the boy panics and screams, thinking he is another raider. Inside the trailer, the injured raider hears the noise but assumes the boy is just scared and doesn't bother to check. The son wastes no time, using his pocket knife to cut the boy free. As soon as the ropes fall, the boy bolts into the darkness. A few seconds later, the injured raider steps outside, scanning the area, but the boy is already gone. Determined to retrieve the medicine, the son spots a locked suitcase nearby. He knows the medicine is inside, but struggles with the lock. Just then, he hears the raiders returning and quickly hides beneath the trailer. The leader storms in, furious that the boy escaped. In his rage, he strikes the injured raider. Then, he turns to check his suitcase, pausing when he notices fresh mud on the lock. His eyes narrow, realizing someone has tampered with it. The group grows tense, but before they can investigate further, they discover the wife's body. That night, the raiders burn her remains, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. The son watches from the shadows, his gaze locked on the leader. Around the man's neck hangs a small key, the key to the suitcase. He knows he has to act. At dawn, he sneaks back into the trailer, gripping a match in his trembling fingers. Inside, the raiders sleep huddled together, their weapons resting within reach. Carefully, he inches towards the leader, holding his breath as he lights another stick to see in the dim light. His hands move with precision as he lifts the key and slices the string with his knife. The son clutches the key and slips away. Outside, he rushes to the suitcase, unlocks it, and finds the medicine inside. Relief floods over him, but there's no time to celebrate. He quickly locks the trailer from the outside, trapping the raiders inside, and takes off toward his home. Just as he thinks he's in the clear, His foot catches on the trap outside the trailer, triggering a loud clang. The noise jolts the raiders awake. Meanwhile, back at the house, the girlfriend is weak and barely conscious when she hears something outside. Her eyes widen in terror as she sees a pack of wolves circling the shelter. She clutches her wound. The son sprints through the forest, pushing his body to its limits. The leader, running with ruthless determination, spots the injured raider struggling to keep up. Without hesitation, he shoves the man to the ground and stomps on his neck, killing him instantly before continuing the pursuit. The remaining raiders fire arrows, but the son is too fast, dodging through the trees as he races towards safety. Desperate for shelter, he reaches the house of the elderly man and the boy. But something feels off. The front door is ajar and deep. Claw marks cover the wooden frame. Stepping inside, he recoils in horror. The elderly man has been torn apart, his body ravaged by wolves. The boy is nowhere to be found. Swallowing his grief, the son turns to leave, but before he can react, the raiders ambush him. A crushing blow strikes the back of his head, and everything goes black. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself bound to a thick log, being carried back to the raider settlement. His arms and legs are tied tightly, making escape impossible. They throw him near a roaring fire, sharpening their blades as they prepare to cook him. He struggles against the ropes, his mind racing for a way out. Then, he spots his pocket knife lying just a few feet away. He inches toward it, desperation fueling his movements. The leader steps forward and kicks the knife away. The son's breath catches as the leader pulls out a small photograph, the one of his father. Without hesitation, the man tosses it into the fire. The son watches in agony as the last piece of his father turns to ash. The son notices the dog Whistle lying nearby and slowly crawls toward it, careful not to alert the raiders. With his hands still tied, he grabs the whistle with his mouth and blows as hard as he can. The raiders rush to stop him, but it's already too late. The eerie sound echoes through the forest, summoning the wolves. The raiders freeze there, expressions shifting from anger to fear as distant howls grow louder. Realizing the real danger, they abandon the son and flee in different directions, knowing they stand no chance against the incoming predators. Seizing the opportunity, the son quickly retrieves his knife and saws through the ropes binding his wrists. As the wolves storm the camp, he dives under a fallen log, watching as the beasts chase the raiders into the darkness. Meanwhile, the leader, unable to outrun the others, turns on his own crew. In a desperate act of self-preservation, he stabs one of his own people, leaving her to be devoured while he disappears into the woods. Once the chaos settles, the son emerges from his hiding spot. He dresses quickly and starts his journey back to his girlfriend, pushing through exhaustion and pain. However, the remaining 3 raiders soon return to the settlement and realize their captive is gone. Furious, they split up to track him down. As the son stumbles through the forest, he collapses against a tree, his body screaming for rest. Just as his eyes start to close, he senses movement behind him. One of the raiders has found him and creeps closer, ready to strike. But when the raider reaches for the body on the ground, he finds only empty clothes. Above him, the son drops from a tree branch, ambushing the man. The two wrestle violently, with the raider managing to wrap his arms and legs around the son's neck in a deadly chokehold. Gasping for air, the son spots a knife within reach and stretches his fingers toward it. A short while later, another raider arrives and spots what appears to be his companion dragging the son's limp body. Relieved, he steps forward, only to realize too late that it's actually the son wearing the first raider's clothes. Before he can react, the son lunges, stabbing him and ending his life. Now armed with a bow and arrows taken from the second raider, the son sets his sights on the leader. Disguised in the stolen clothes, he moves carefully, preparing for the final confrontation. Spotting the leader limping through the woods, he takes aim and fires an arrow, striking him in the leg. The leader roars in pain, finally recognizing his attacker. Fueled by rage, the son knocks another arrow, but his anger gets the better of him. He pulls too hard, snapping the bow in half. With no choice but to fight up close, he draws his knife, and the leader does the same. Before they can clash, The distant sound of wolves sends a chill through the air. The son smirks, knowing he can outrun the injured leader. Without hesitation, he turns and flees, leaving the leader behind to face his fate. Moments later, the wolves descend upon him, his screams echoing through the forest. With no one left to chase him, the son presses on, desperate to reach his girlfriend. Along the way, he stumbles upon a house he has never seen before. On the porch, he finds the lifeless body of a woman who has taken her own life. He carefully removes the gun from her hand and steps inside, scanning the area. To his relief, he finds another firearm, a larger gun, along with a box of ammunition. Even more astonishing, the house still has running water. Just as he prepares to leave, he hears footsteps behind him. Turning quickly, his stomach drops. It's the leader. Somehow he survived. The son raises the gun and pulls the trigger, but it clicks empty. The leader lunges, and the two engage in a brutal struggle. The leader pins him down, attempting to strangle him, but the son presses his fingers into the fresh wound on the man's leg. The leader howls in agony, momentarily loosening his grip. Wasting no time, the son grabs the smaller gun from his pocket and fires a single shot into the leader's head, finally ending him. After catching his breath, the son stops by the elderly man and boy's house. He leaves behind some canned food, hoping the boy might still be alive. Then, without looking back, he rushes home. His heart pounds as he nears his shelter, but something feels wrong. The door is open. Fear grips him as he steps inside, only to find the house empty. His girlfriend is gone. Overwhelmed with grief, he collapses onto the floor, his body shaking with silent sobs. Just as he loses all hope, he feels a gentle touch on his shoulder. He turns, but the screen fades to black, before revealing who it is. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more awesome movie recaps. See you in the next one.